Thanks to the support as a channel member, Chris Tierney. Oh, folks, with the new game finally in my sticky little hands, I am now well and truly in my busiest time of the year. And being as busy as I am can sometimes make it pretty hard to eat healthily. And that's where today's video sponsor comes in. YFood. YFood is a nutritionally complete, ready-to-drink meal, and it comes in some very delicious flavors, including this gaming edition fudge brownie flavor. Now, it comes ready mixed in these awesome little bottles that you can just pop in the fridge, get them nice and cold. And each one of these is a complete meal. Specifically, it's a smart food. Not sure what a smart food is? Don't worry, Kev's here to help you out. Smart food is a new category of food with a complete nutritional profile that can be quickly and easily consumed anytime and anywhere. There's loads of nerds working in the background who doing all the nutritional and technological study stuff to basically allow you to eat a balanced nutritional diet where you don't really have time to because you're too busy sat at your computer for 18 hours a day playing your shiny new video game. I imagine there's other use cases as well, but this one feels like the appropriate one for me. It's lactose-free and gluten-free, which means that Anna keeps stealing them from me as well, which is, I mean, it's not ideal. And they also have a vegan range as well. Most importantly of all, they taste really good. They'll keep you full. It is a complete meal that when I am sat here trying to get a video edited out in time or rushing to do a stupidly long stream because I'm excited about everything that's going on, I can just grab one of these, get it drunk, know that I'm not resorting to junk food or unhealthy stuff or skipping a meal or any of these other bad habits it's easy to slip into when you are busy. Just drink one of these. I feel full. I'm not going to snack. And it's a really tasty drink as well in a cool bottle. And on top of all that, of course, I've got you a nice little discount code. If you use code LOLLUJO-YouTube at checkout, that's down in the description as well, so you don't, and down there, you don't have to memorize it, but if you use that discount code at the checkout, you'll save 10% on your order, and you too can have delicious, healthy, complete meals in delicious gaming edition fudge brownie flavors. Other flavors are available. So the link to that is down at the top of the description below. Discount code LOLLUJO-YouTube, save 10%. What are you waiting for? Go get it done. Hello and welcome to part 6 of my FM23 beta save with Chelsea. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a big game in the Premier League. We're at home against Arsenal, and then we've got our first leg of our Champions League first knockout round game against Benfica, which means an awful lot has gone on since you were last with me, not least of which is we've had a World Cup. I'll show you it very quickly. We're not going to dwell on the World Cup too much. Let me know down in the comments if you want an actual World Cup video where we go and have a look at everything that's gone on in World Cups and simulate it and all that kind of stuff. Why could I not find the World Cup? World Cup 2022. World Cup? I don't want to see this one. I want to see the one that happened before. Well, I'm baffled why it doesn't let me look at the stages of the World Cup anymore when we're only a little bit beyond it. That is mad. But there you go. We can show you the semi-finals where Holland beat Germany and Ecuador beat Portugal. I think Ecuador are actually the team that knocked England out in the first knockout round, which is very different from the World Cup I experienced in my stream save over on Twitch, where England actually won the World Cup. So it shows that it's certainly not set in stone who's going to do what in these World Cups. But your winners of the World Cup, after all this faffing about, Ecuador beating Germany to finish third is a huge result for Ecuador. But Holland beating Portugal in the final. So Holland were World Cup champions or world champions, I guess, in 2022. So that happened. We've also had the January transfer window where we did do a little bit of business. We didn't really let anybody out of the club. There was no one we wanted to get rid of, but we have brought in a couple more players. Ryan Gravenberch is on loan from Bayern Munich until the end of the season, with an arrangement in place for an optional future fee of £33 million if he ends up being as good as the Ryan Gravenberch of previous FMs. We need to have a look at him over the course of the second half of this season, decide if it's worth dropping 33 million on him. The fact he's only showing us 4 stars of potential suggests he might have had a little bit of a downgrade for this year's game, so we might not take the plunge on him. But if he ends up becoming a key part of the team, or even a regular rotation part of the team at 20 years old between now and the end of the season, he's definitely an option to spend some money on in the summer. And we did spend some money now as well. Benjamin Pavard coming in from Bayern Munich. A total cost of £44 million. 30 of it paid now. The rest of it is based on various bits and bobs, which you can't see on here because I don't understand where you find these things in Football Manager now. Oh, we did sell Thiago Silva as well, which is why we needed Pavard. I knew there was someone we got rid of. Can't you tell this was a long game session? So Thiago Silva went to Newcastle for £5 million. He was out of contract at the end of the year. It made sense to let him go. Pavard has come in as his replacement. We did then try and move Azpilicueta on as well, because I figured Pavard could probably cover them both in the squad. But that didn't really work out. So Azpilicueta is going to be here until the end of the season, when we probably let him go. We have promised we'll let him go if we get a decent offer for him. And there are some big clubs, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid, both interested in Azpilicueta. So he's likely to be leaving in the summer, along with the likes of Lukaku and some of the others who are out on loan, as we try and get our pile of money together that should allow us to go and get not just Gravenberch, but hopefully Tammy Abraham as well, which is the plan. Because at the moment, next season's guaranteed budget of 26 million just isn't going to get the job done. On the pitch, we've had a pretty good time of it. As you can see, in the Premier League, once we got back after the World Cup, lots of wins. We did get knocked out of the FA Cup by Birmingham. This was such a weird anomaly match. I don't really have any explanation for it. As you can see, it wasn't like we put the youth team out. It's a fairly strong team. Chelsea could put this team out in the Premier League on a Saturday and claim it was a team they put out to try and win a Premier League match. This isn't a bunch of nobodies and reserves, but we just got absolutely ruined by Troy Deeney. He was just exceptional. And it was just, it's the first time we've been really caught out by these really negative, horrible FM23 tactics that the AI does sometimes. As you can see, the good old flat back six with the two holding midfield players, and they just ruined us, completely outclassed us. This is a Birmingham team who are, can we see where Birmingham are in the league? Why can't I find them again now? Birmingham, 18th in the Championship. We're top of the Premier League. Like I say, really weird anomaly match. We did recover against Villa in the next game, but then lost against West Ham and have now recovered again against Southampton, meaning the Premier League table looks like this. It's certainly not a foregone conclusion that we're going to win the league. We have, however, part of the thing that allowed us to do the January transfers is we did up our season expectations. So it's no longer enough for our board for us to just qualify for the Champions League. We have to be in a title race, which I'm not entirely sure what the difference is, because I still don't think we actually have to win the league. But I do think, I guess, presumably we have to be in a position to win the league going into the final few games of the season, I guess qualifies. So we could really use beating Arsenal here. And then I don't know why we're all the way back here, because we went back and looked at the World Cup, I guess. This should just reset itself. Come on, FM. This is a bit glitchy. There you go. So we could do with beating Arsenal now. Erling Haaland, by the way, 36 goals in 22 appearances in the league, 47 in 31 in all competitions so far. He's quite good. And it's another thing, similar to the World Cup, the success of Erling Haaland seems to vary massively from save to save, because again, in the Twitch save, he's barely scoring a goal every other game. In the 100 years in the future save we looked at, barely a goal every other game. This is much more like real life Erling Haaland, and he's terrifying. Let's go and play Arsenal. This is the team that we're going to put out there for that game. We've got Mendy in goal, a back four of Chilwell, Chalobah, Fofana and James, Kovacic and Kante in midfield, Pulisic, Mount and Sterling, then supporting Havertz up front. A win is, I won't say a win is essential here, but Arsenal are hovering at just outside of the Champions League spots at the moment. They're going to be very motivated to come here and pick up a win. As you saw from the schedule, we've had a couple of little wobbles recently, most notably against Birmingham. So I don't really want a big wobble to come in. Little wobbles are okay. No big wobbles for me. Thank you. I hope losing Thiago Silva as a team leader isn't a major contributing factor. I mean, it could be, but let's hope it's not. Pulisic getting in behind the right back Tomiyasu there, but it's dealt with very comfortably by Arsenal, and they're now looking for a counter-attack of their own. Saka's given the ball away, and it's poked into the penalty area, but Ramsdale gets there before Havertz, who was trying to burst in and get there ahead of him. I don't know why Havertz then moves out onto the right-hand side. It looks like we're playing a 4-2-4 here, with Mason Mount central, playing Pulisic in, who's been fouled, surely, by Pulisic. Pulisic causing all kinds of problems for Tomiyasu already in the first 5 minutes of this match. And the referee, get your pointy finger out. I don't know why you're making such a fuss. You're running into the penalty area. Just point at the spot. We all know it's a penalty. There you go. Penalty awarded by VAR. I don't know who our penalty taker is. Who is this going to be? Give us a clue. Mason Mount against Aaron Ramsdale. And he scores 1-0 to Chelsea. Less than 6 minutes gone. This is just what we needed. If we can get a big win in a big match against a local rival who are a good side today, Ramsdale goes the right way but can't quite get there. But if we can get that big result today, it goes a long way towards getting the Birmingham result out of our minds and setting us back up to refocus in on the Champions League, which obviously we want to be doing. We don't just want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League as well. Why not just win it all season one? That'll make the second half of beta period interesting. Do we I mean, let's worry about that problem if it happens, because at the moment, like I say, we're potentially entering a period of wobble. Lokonga wins the ball back for Arsenal, and now White back to Ramsdale, and Arsenal just fairly comfortably playing the ball around at the back again. And Martinelli is now coming at Reece James, but couldn't get past him. And Renato Sanchez in midfield for Arsenal. That's a good signing for Arsenal. Kovacic back to Fofana. I wonder how much they paid for him. I would have liked him. Should I have got him rather than Gravenberch, I wonder? A little bit older, a little bit closer to being ready for the first team. Oh, I mean, we've got Mason Mount, who's just played that through ball there, and then burst through to get on the end of it. We don't need either of them. No Gravenberch, no Renato Sanchez. We've got Mason Mount, and he's just put us 2-0 up inside the first 20 minutes here against Arsenal, and he started this and then burst forward and finished it as well. The ball forward, looking for Havertz, and then he just chases through off the back of it as well. Actually getting the opportunity to play as the centre attacking midfielder in recent weeks, which he wasn't doing earlier on in the season. I mean, my long-term plan is probably still to play Havertz there and use Mount out wide, but Mount is really starting to potentially change my mind on that and force himself into my plan as the long-term central attacking midfielder. It might be that the long-term plan will be to get rid of Kai Havertz entirely, because he doesn't really fit into the plan. He's not the out-and-out goal scorer that I want, and he's not going to get into that position ahead of Mason Mount. So maybe that could be part of our forward planning for the summer. We've already hopefully got Lukaku. Let's face it, Lukaku we're either going to sell or bring him back into the squad and use. Either way, Lukaku or the guy we buy with Lukaku, money, Tammy Abraham, one of them two is going to be our starter next season up front. So Havertz isn't going to be in the team up front. So if Mount is going to be in an attacking midfield, maybe we do look to sell Havertz, which I certainly wouldn't have expected to be saying at the start of the save, because Kai Havertz is someone I've used a lot in previous versions of FM, but usually in deeper roles. Kante bursting through and forcing the save out of Ramsdale. It goes behind for the corner. And we're playing very well here. Mount with the corner, looking to hit that in-swinger to the near post, where inexplicably it's N'Golo Kante who's trying to get on the end of it. All of the big boys we've got in this team, and we decide to aim a corner at Kante. I blame whoever set up the corner instructions, which was me. I mean, Kante's there again. I cannot believe I'm deliberately aiming for Kante at these corners. So Kante, that's Kante. So do you want to explain yourself, Football Manager? I guess he's on stay back if needed. So I guess the argument will be he's not needed. But he is definitely on a stay back if needed instruction. If we go back into the game, he is definitely stood just there. Hold on. We're going 2D. We're working out. So, yeah, I guess he's not needed, because Arsenal are sending nobody forward. I'm not quite sure what Pulisic is doing, hovering just there. That's a strange place for him to stand. But yeah, if Arsenal are leaving nobody forward, then yeah, Kante isn't needed to go back. So I guess it makes sense. But just hover around here somewhere. Don't be the man who's trying to get onto the end of the cross. That's ridiculous. There you go. It should be Chalobah. We've got Chalobah. We've got Fofana. We've got big boys in there. who should be the ones trying to get onto the end of corners. Boys and girls, I'd like to apologise for the choppy nature of this video so far. My doorbell has just decided it's going to ring constantly during this particular match, and I don't know why. Hopefully we've had our second and final interruption, and we can get some flow going now. Goal line technology. Can we have that as over the line? Is that going to be over there? I don't think they're going to give that as over the line, are they? No. Has anyone ever seen one of those be given? That might be a new thing for FM23. Maybe we'll occasionally get a goal line technology thing actually given, because I don't think it's ever been done before in a game of Football Manager. Right, we are on the attack again. We've been rampant in this first half. Reece James getting the better of Martinelli, whipping in the cross to Havertz, who hits the post. That's another lovely attack from us. If we can add a third here before half time, this is just, we're going to have this finished off and it's going to be lovely. We've just had a message from my assistant manager saying the gap between our defence and midfield is too big and risks us being exposed. I mean, it's just negative Nelly. That's a completely reasonably sized gap, especially because our fullbacks are pushing on and Kovacic drops a little deeper and we're not getting exposed, are we? We're 2-0 up. So shows what you know, Mr. Assistant Manager, Mr. FM23, always trying to do negative tactics. Yeah, I see you. They did, I mean, dare I click on Renato Sanchez? I want to see how much they paid for him. This does usually mean guaranteed goal. And see, that is good value. That's not much more than half what we're going to have to pay for Gravenberch. And Sanchez has gone straight into that Arsenal midfield, and Gravenberch struggles for a spot on our bench at the moment and isn't as good as Conor Gallagher. I wonder if I've gone for the wrong one and Gabriel Jesus has just grabbed a goal completely against the run of play on the hour mark, and Arsenal are right back in this 2-1, and it's more faffing from defenders this time, thankfully, not Fofana. This time it's Chalobah faffing on the ball, and I wonder if it might be time for me to start playing Koulibaly. At the moment, as ever in Football Manager, I'm favouring the young players, so Chalobah and Fofana definitely getting the nod ahead of Koulibaly, but maybe we let Koulibaly into the team. But to be fair, Koulibaly is very much in my head as a player that we sell this summer. Another one that we're going to sell to generate some cash. He's 31 years old, turns 32 in the summer. I ain't keeping a 32-year-old. If I can get 50 million for him, which is supposedly the top end of his value, I am definitely doing that. We're youngening up this team. It's a bunch of old men. We need a refresh. We're doing a rebuild. That being said, we are going to bring Koulibaly on here. And we're going to bring Aubameyang on. Why not? He's part of the rebuild, and there is the man, Conor Gallagher, the man of 1,000 through balls, which I think is his nickname. 5 substitutions when we've got a narrow 1-goal lead in a local derby. That's confidence right there, boys and girls. But it is Arsenal with the corner, and this will be very upsetting. That's headed clear, I think, from Chilwell, who's not the man I expect to be heading clear from corners. And there's Chalobah, who is the man I expect to be doing with a dominant headed clearance. And now we're pressing against Arsenal on the edge of this area again as we look to try and get a counter-attack running. Sterling getting the tackle in, but every time we win the ball, Arsenal are just taking it straight back off us. It's very much been all Arsenal since they scored, and I think Jesus is offside there. I hope he's offside there. That it is another warning shot for us that Arsenal are on the verge of getting back into this game. Disallow this, referee. There's a good boy. See, the referee, I've got the referees in my pocket, which is one good thing, I guess. But, I mean, it wasn't... Okay, it was miles off. Absolutely miles off. So, we're good. Can we hold on? You know what we should have done ages ago? We've got this tactic just sat here. Why have I not switched to this? And closed that gap between the midfield and the defence. The game told me about 40 minutes ago. We literally have the players on the pitch to be able to do it comfortably. There you go. And that shuts the game down. Beautiful stuff. Very important win for us. We're now 7 points clear at the top of the league, albeit Liverpool and Manchester City and Manchester United, all with games in hand. But we are pretty much guaranteed the Champions League spot off the back of that result. But like I said before, that isn't enough on its own. We do need to be competing for the league title, which that win helps us a long way towards actually doing. What we'd now like to do is beat Benfica and get a nice deep run in the Champions League as well. So a couple of changes for the Benfica game. Hudson-Odoi has picked up an injury and is going to miss the rest of the season. He's got damaged Achilles tendon, misses the next 3 to 5 months. So he was going to be starting on the right-hand side of midfield. As it is, Sterling will play over there. Pedro Gonçalves coming in on the left-hand side, and we're also bringing Pavard in to partner Fofana at the back. Probably sensible to have the more experienced French international in there for the big game in Europe. I mean, I know I was talking about Koulibaly. As I was talking about Koulibaly, kind of forgot we'd just signed Pavard. So Pavard's obviously the much more sensible option to bring in someone that little bit younger and still keep the plan in place to get rid of Koulibaly in the summer. Champions League stuff, always look pretty. Why can't, I mean, look how I still can't get over how zoomed in we are there. Why can't we have highlights that zoomed in, even if it's just like the goal replays? If we were zoomed in to that level, I think far fewer people would complain about the graphics of this game if we were a little bit more zoomed in. I think part of the problem is we're so zoomed out that you can't see that actually that looked quite good. I don't know if that's just all a pre-rendered thing and you couldn't do it in the match engine or what, but that looks quite snazzy on that Champions League intro. And Kai Havertz has opened the scoring inside the first 15 minutes in this massive Champions League game away against Benfica. I mean, to be fair, they're a team you would expect us to be able to beat. We should be navigating past Benfica and getting into the latter stages of the tournament, but it's Champions League away from home. All games are tough games at this level, cliche o'clock, and it's always nice to get an early away goal, even though I know they don't count the double anymore, but still, they're still nice to have, aren't they? Sterling now with the effort from the edge of the area. He had time there to take an extra touch or two and actually get a proper shot away rather than just wildly swinging his leg at the ball like he actually did. But he'll never learn, that boy. What a silly goose. We're getting that message again. We need to tighten the gap between the defence and the midfield to prevent being taken advantage of. I don't understand why that's suddenly such a big issue. The 4-2-3-1 has been working well for us all season. Maybe I've been getting that message all along and haven't noticed it. Maybe. We'll probably, now we're 2-0 up, we probably will switch to the 4-3-3 for the second half and just kind of sit back a little bit. We'll still be playing on a positive mentality. We're not going to be going defensive mode, but I guess we could just drop a few players a little bit deeper and fill that gap just to avoid being taken advantage of. And we've lost Havertz. That is a problem. I mean, as much as I've been talking, I'm bringing Aubameyang, and normally I'd go Brozier, but I think in the circumstances we go Aubameyang. We're in the Champions League. It's still the first half. To come off with a knee injury, just an immediate knee injury, 36 minutes, no orange injury that gets worse. That could be problematic. Oh, my word. Look how far out. Mendy has come. Oh, and then he kicks it into our own defender. We've got away with one there. We have FM23 chaos, everybody. And Mason Mount, lovely ball into Sterling. Aubameyang was offside for the original ball from Mount. It'd be interesting to see if the goal was disallowed as a result of it. He was miles offside when Mount played the ball through, and it looks like that doesn't matter. If you watch when Mason Mount hits this pass, look how far offside Aubameyang is, who ends up scoring. How on earth is that goal being given? I obviously don't understand the offside rule. Chilwell looking for the in-swinger to finish off the first half in style. It's only punched clear by the goalkeeper, and Pedrog from range, and their goalkeeper, he's dancing around a little bit trying to look good for the telly. That ball was already going wide. He didn't need to give away the corner there, but he has, and we've got another opportunity to grab another goal before half-time. Mount with the in-swinger, looking for Fofana again, who's already scored one, and Jorginho wins the ball back from the clearance, and there's Pedro Gonçalves playing it back to Pavard, and the highlight just peters out as if nothing ever happened. Nothing to see here, boys and girls. Right, that was an excellent first half. We will now switch to the other tactic, drop Jorginho back, and just fill that gap. I mean, it's not that we're playing any more defensively. We're not playing at any more of a slower pace. We're just literally dropping a guy back in there just because the match end, not the match engine, the assistant manager is telling me that there's a potential problem. So let's just solve the problem. We've got the players who can play in any of these combinations. Jorginho is just as comfortable defensive midfield or centre mid. Mount is just as comfortable attacking mid or centre mid. So it's quite good to have those two players with that flexibility that allows us to just move between these two systems at will as the game demands. Handy stuff. Still 3-0 early in the second half. It's Benfica with a corner. Cross comes over and the header just goes over the crossbar. Mendy was flapping a little bit for that one, so luckily they weren't able to get the header on target. But we'd quite like to just see this match disappear with no more highlights now. 3-0 very comfortable, but we've already picked up one potentially serious injury. We've got lots of games coming very thick and fast. We could do without picking up any more injuries, because one thing that is clear about this Chelsea squad is there is not a lot in the way of strength in depth. If we have lost Havertz for any length of time, we've got Aubameyang and Brozier as our two options for striker. And I don't know if either of them are Premier League / Champions League winning lone striker material. I guess we might have to find out. We'll check in on Havertz at the end of the match. Mount with another corner. These have been very dangerous so far. So looking for Fofana again, but he can't get his head onto the ball. And now Benfica with the counter attack. It's James coming back to cover and does quite well to hold the attack up, but it is still Benfica with the ball, and they are moving it around nicely to create some space for themselves. But that ball over the top is being dealt with very comfortably by Pavard. That's why we spent the big bucks bringing Pavard in, and he's got that very comfortably covered as we approach substitution o'clock on the 70th minute. Reece James is tired, so Azpilicueta can come on for him. Cucurella isn't fully fit, so we can't do the other change the substitute thing that I like to do. What we might do is bring on Koulibaly here and just shuffle around the defence a little bit. Pavard can go to right back. Azpilicueta can go to left back. And then Gonçalves can come off for Pulisic. And why not give Kante a rest? We'll bring on Conor Gallagher. In fact, 3-0 up. Shall we have a look at Ryan Gravenberch? Let's have a look at him. He can come on, play 20 minutes in central midfield for us in the Champions League. Because we've got to use this 6-month loan that we've gotten in to decide if he's worth spending the money on, because it is a big chunk of change spending 33 million in one go on a 20-year-old who's not going to come straight into the first team. But having used him extensively in the network game with Everton last year, in that beautiful midfield partnership I had with Gravenberch and Gavi for Everton, and signing him at this sort of age, it wasn't like we were signing him as a 23, 24-year-old when he's developed a bit more. It was this kind of age of Gravenberch who came straight into that Everton team that then won the Premier League. So there is the potential there for him to be a very solid midfielder if he's the same Ryan Gravenberch that he was in FM22, which I can't imagine moving to Bayern Munich would be reason to give him a downgrade. I know he's not played very much there, but he left Ajax and went to Bayern Munich. You would think it would be very unusual in that circumstance to downgrade any of his attributes. So I assume it probably is still the same player in there. We just need to get some games into him to unleash the potential. Pavard playing it across to Jorginho, and there is Gravenberch on the edge of the area, playing it back to Jorginho, who takes it's a pot shot, nothing else. There's no goal on there. I don't know how that's snuck in. The goalkeeper must be completely unsighted, because it's not even gone into one of the corners. It's gone along the ground, basically in the middle of the goal. I'll have a look at it from the other angle. What a weird goal to concede, because there were no defenders in the way. There's no real excuse there for the goalkeeper. He shouldn't have conceded that, and he did. 4-0, and we are as good as in the quarterfinal of the Champions League off the back of a very dominant first leg performance. Good work, boys and girls. More of this in the second leg, and let's see just how good this season can become. A lot is going to be decided based on what happens when I click on this button here. The subsequent thing is a little bit of a problem. 6 or 7 weeks. I mean, he's missing the next round. He's missing the quarterfinal. He's missing a lot of Premier League games. But he will be back before the end of the season. So it could have been worse. That's for sure. Right, if you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.